Let's talk a little bit about Vietnam. Let's talk about ASEAN. And I believe you're making a trip to Vietnam. How are you seeing the story unravel there, and unfold there in terms of the fact that Vietnam is sitting right in the middle of these tariff tensions between the U.S. and China, with diversification of supply chains routing through Vietnam?
So I'm headed to Vietnam this weekend. I'll be in Vietnam next week, and I'm very excited to return back to the country because Vietnam has been a tremendous beneficiary of the FDI realignment globally. And it's not something that has started recently. It's been going on for several years because Vietnam has a very strong proposition. It has an open and predictable regulatory environment. It has a very competitive labor cost, cheap, plentiful power, land that Singapore, for example, has limited of. And so for that reason, Vietnam has been able to not only attract FDI, but also expand the type of FDI that they receive. Historically, it was very U.S. or Korea focused. Yeah. They're now seeing Chinese investment, some new European investment, and it's happening across all sectors. Some technology certainly, but also textiles, manufacturing. NVIDIA recently announced that they would be setting up an R&D center.
Right. What do you like in Vietnam sectorally?
Yes, so I think the one area that is of interest is the industrial park developers, because this would be a direct play on this ongoing manufacturing boom in Vietnam. And so on Monday, I'm going to be visiting with some of the industrial park developers in the northern part of Vietnam. That's where most of the development is taking place, and so I'm very excited to be on the ground and see how things are going. There's tremendous demand from the likes of Samsung, LG, recently Foxconn setting up.
Yeah, and which is why, because supply chains are so intertwined and interdependent in this part of the world that you can't single out one from the other, right? Because there's so many layers to peel back. But I do want to get a sense from you, since you'll be meeting all these important companies in Vietnam and you've met companies in the region, are they feeling the pressure of those impending tariffs? Because sometimes it's tariffs on, sometimes it's tariffs off. And in between all of that is that policy uncertainty and unpredictability. How are they working around it?
I think that everybody is tracking the tariff situation. Clearly, it's very unpredictable. Yeah. But in case of Vietnam, this realignment has been taking place for quite some time. Samsung has been there for well over 10 years. They produce more than half of their smartphones globally in Vietnam. So I feel that as investors, it's our job to be selective and identify those domestically oriented trends and be present there.